So, Ananya, if I ask you, are you well? Will you instantly be able to answer from your heart whether you're well or not? Now, that is the question. When I'm talking about health, as WHO defines it, health is not just absence of a disease. You talk about Hinduism, you talk about Islam, you talk about Jainism. Every religion has one big annual, festival. We invest a lot of money for the family, right? During that time, why not save? Not even 1/10 of that money will be required. Why not save at least that much and visit a doctor annually once, even if you're fine? India is still not ready to understand mental, I'm not talking about illness also, mental health. Always you might not have a clinical issue, but it deserves being addressed.
So what is the one common myth most of the patients come up to?
That if you don't eat, you will reduce weight. I'm a clinical nutritionist. I'm supposed to say what to eat to reduce weight, not what not to eat always.
Has any client come up with a weird request?
Oh yes, there are a lot of people from the film industry. Actually, they can't help it, even doctors. I think the worst lifestyle, if you say, doctors have.
Okay, so the first thing that people do when they are facing any symptoms or are unwell, the first thing they do is take advice from Reels or Google or from social media. So what do you think? Is this something which should be carried on? Welcome, get comfy as we spill the beans on Ananya Bhowmik's journey. From nutrition whiz to wellness wizard. Ready for the lowdown? Okay, so welcome to our show, but first tell me, what should I call you? Dr. Bhowmik, Ananya, Dr. Ananya, what should I call you?
You can just call me Ananya.
So Ananya, from being a clinical nutritionist to founding Code Wellness Pvt. Limited, what has inspired your journey into holistic wellness?
See, I started my first job where I was actually working with underprivileged children, and I was looking after their nutrition. And from there, I moved to, a government setup where I basically saw underprivileged people. And then I realized that it is not just food, diet, or nutrition. I was interested in holistic wellness. That is, whether you're fine or not. For example, if I ask you, your name is also Ananya.
Yes.
So Ananya, if I ask you, are you well? Will you instantly be able to answer from your heart whether you're well or not? Now, that is the question. I want people to answer yes from the heart. And I thought that here, just being a clinical nutritionist won't be enough. So I studied more about psychology and a lot of areas. And I decided that I need to do something for not only the community, for general patients, where I want them to be well. So basically, when you're talking about holistic wellness, we need to first understand what is wellness and how I understand it. That's why I founded Code Wellness. So here, when I'm talking about health, as WHO defines it, health is not just absence of a disease. Like if I ask you health, you will say, I'm fine, I'm healthy because I do not have any disease. But it is much more than that. It has three aspects. The first aspect is, of course, physical health, whether you have disease or not. Second aspect is whether you're psychologically fine, so mental health. Third aspect, which we all keep forgetting, that is social wellness. So health has three aspects: physical, psychological, as well as social. So if you are not comfortable with all three of them together, you're not well. So that is why if I ask you or any other person, you'll take 1 or 2 seconds to say whether you're well or not. And only you know whether you're saying it from your heart or not. So I want people to say it from the heart that they are well.
Okay, so do you think our physical well-being depends on our mental well-being also?
Yes, that is what exactly I'm saying. That I deal with holistic wellness, which is physical, mental, and social wellness. So there are many ways by which we can take care of it. And I deal with that. And my MSc thesis, when I was doing MSc in Mumbai, my thesis, a part of it was how nutrition can affect quality of life. So I think that was the seed where I started reading about quality of life. I started understanding social wellness. I started understanding mental wellness. And then I realized that I have to work more than just a clinical nutritionist, maybe for my own satisfaction, because I understand it is needed. So that's why I have Code Wellness Pvt Limited, where I deal, in fact, it's a we, it's not I. I have founded it, but I have a team of psychologists, psychiatrists, dermatologists, medicine experts, orthopedics, yoga therapists, movement therapists, and we all work together for only one goal, holistic wellness.
Okay, so you are a gold medalist and a PhD in clinical nutrition.
Yeah.
So what is your academic approach towards this?
See, one thing I think I should actually talk about the way I've been brought up. So I have been brought up in a very, very academic background. My family's an extremely academic background it has. So I have been told, or I've been made to understand, that if you do not study a thing to the core and do not get the knowledge, then you're incomplete. So I believe whatever I'm saying, I have read it, I have studied it, and as far as possible, I have done that in-depth knowledge, and then I can move forward. So for that, academics is basics, so I have to do that. And then comes experience, which I would gather by, I have for 16 years I've been working, 14 years I've been in government sector working. So I think that is what knowledge is all about. First academic understanding and then applying it with patience.
Okay, so earlier my father or my mother, my grandparents used to, were not even interested in the idea of going and visiting a doctor. They used to give medicines which were available easily or could be made at home. So do you think it is necessary for a person who is feeling unwell to go to a doctor, or it can be cured at home also?
See, there are two aspects of it. I'm not only saying about, if you're talking about traditional practices, that has a different role to play. I personally believe, let me first talk about traditional practices. I personally believe that these traditional practices, which are coming down for years and years and years, a lot of them have a lot of scientific reasons, and maybe we just feel that our grandparents have told us to do it, that's why we are doing it. But each and every spices that we use has some medicinal quality, and it has been proved by science. So yes, if you know which spice for what, then it's better. So for that, you might need a bit of guidance, because it's many years of knowledge, so a lot of pollution has happened in the knowledge system also. So at times it is a bit confusing for a few people. So yes, for that, you should visit someone for traditional practices. So that's where the amalgamation comes, of traditional practices and then scientific knowledge backing it. So it is, I personally believe a lot in all the spices that Indians use, and in different medicinal ways. So that is there. But if you're talking about visiting a doctor, if you're feeling unwell, as you said, so I think the most important thing that a lot of people in India lack is the approach towards health. Our way of thinking about health. We do not prioritize health. So if you do not think that health is one of the most important things you have, then, you will not give it much importance. And that is what is happening. Our way of approaching health, we take it for granted. And then when we fall sick, And then we don't want to go to a hospital. We don't want to do this. It's too much of wastage of money. But that shouldn't be the attitude. We should visit a doctor annually. See, every festival, it's an annual festival. Any religion you talk about Hinduism, you talk about Islam, you talk about Jainism. Every religion has one big annual, festival. So I always tell my patients, or whenever I go to give lectures, that we invest a lot of money for the family, right? During that time, we save up and we do that. So why not save? Not even 1/10 of that money will be required. Why not save at least that much and visit a doctor annually once, even if you're fine? You know why? By this, you can prevent diseases and you can actually stop or reduce your hospitalization rate. So do not go to a lab to know what tests you want to do, or do not go for packages. Go to a doctor. Tell him or her your issues, your lifestyle, or you can come to a wellness consultant like me. Tell me what your issues are, and we can decide whether at all you need tests or not, and if you need, what tests. So rely on people who have the knowledge to help you. That's it.
Okay, so as you mentioned that we wouldn't like going to doctors, or we don't usually for checkups, we don't go to doctors, right?
Yes.
And we like to cure it at home. So there are also some people who are suffering mentally. That people have not talking about or spoken about, I mean, in public, and people like to stay in their rooms. So what would you like to say about that?
Exactly, that is what I'm saying. When you come to, for example, if you come to visit me, I will not only look at your physical health or absence of disease. If there is any disease, I will refer you to a medical specialist. But I will look into all your aspects of wellness. You understand? So there I can actually, understand what you need. Code Wellness treats the cause, not the symptom. I mean, we do treat symptoms, but we want to treat the cause so that you do not have symptoms. So you need to understand, in today's day, especially among teenage population, if I say before COVID era, if I was seeing around 10 patients who are from the adolescent group, 2 or 3 patients would require a mental health expert. But now, if I see 10 patients from the adolescent group, 5 to 6 need. Isn't that a big jump? Isn't that a red alarm saying that we are not fine? So that is why, this is exactly why I have founded Code Wellness. I want people to, yes, be in the correct shape, because that is my core area. So all my patients need to be in the correct shape, perfect height for weight, or perfect weight for height. They should be that way. But even if you have the perfect weight for height and you look awesome on screen or, in college, are you well? So that is what, answer that to yourself first. Ask yourself. And if you get the answer no, then come to us. We can help you out. We can help you out in all aspects, because always it is not just mental. If you think, it is not always a psychological problem. There's much more to it. There can be a social aspect also. So why differentiate? Why not see it holistically and treat everything that is possible? Because this is science. This is hardcore science. We can be well. In fact, we all should think that this should be our priority. Because if you have health wellness, you have everything. You can work. You can, do whatever you want. You can have a happy life. And I think slowly and steadily, the world is shifting to happiness quotient from GDP. Because in our generation also, we are actually thinking of staying in a place or moving to a country which has higher happiness quotient. So that means wellness. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Not only absence of disease. much more than that.
Okay, so when we feel mentally disturbed, the first people we approach are our parents, and the first thing they'll say is that this can be cured right at home, and this is nothing, and this will be fixed within 2-3 days or 15 days, or give it some months time, and this will be fixed. So how do you think these people or these children or these teenagers would go to a doctor without the permit of their parents?
Actually, frankly, what happens, most of these kids, now I'm not only talking about teenagers, even 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, they come to me with complaint of eating disorder. Okay. And then I go down to the cause of that. And then I find out that what is the reason for that eating disorder. And there I found a lot of psychological aspects where I send to my mental health specialist and they take care of it. And we all work together with food and mental health therapists. We all work together to cure the issue. And if you're saying that there is a taboo, I 100% agree that India is still not ready to understand mental, I'm not talking about illness also, mental health. Always you might not have a clinical issue. It might be less than a big clinical issue, but it deserves being addressed, because at the end of the day, you're not feeling well. You're not happy. And growing minds, if they are not happy and they are not comfortable with what their thoughts are, then the productivity of the whole nation goes down. So we need to look at it in a much broader aspect. And that's why I keep going to different schools. Now, my latest, I'm having many schools are welcoming me rather to talk about health wellness. So that is what I'm doing. I think this is the way we start, and I'm seeing a good future. Let's see.
Okay, so talking about nutrition, so how do you think nutrition helps in managing conditions like diabetes or CKD?
See, if you're talking about diabetes, then India is probably the capital of diabetes right now. So yes, diabetes patients are the most commonly visiting patients in my clinic. It is a manageable disease. It is not something which will make your life miserable or you need immediate hospitalization. It is a chronic manageable disease. So there, itself, lifestyle and nutrition and diet comes to play. And in Code Wellness, by God's grace, we all work together, and we have actually more than 100 clients of ours who were on either insulin or high-dose oral anti-diabetics. They have all stopped medicines because we have actually worked on the causes of diabetes. And always it is not genetic. There are many other causes of diabetes. And we have actually worked on that. And we are controlling diabetes for many patients, even without medicines now. And they are doing fine. So it is possible to work with the correct kind of diet and, of course, lifestyle and wellness. It is possible to control diabetes in a perfect manner. But yes, it has to be personalized. Every patient has their own needs, their own lifestyle, their own way of eating. So you cannot generalize and say, don't have this, don't have this, don't have this. This is not the way. So that's why we go into personalized lifestyle management and diet management.
Okay, so as you said, your patients are coming in. So what is the one common myth that, most of the patients come up to?
That if you don't eat, you will reduce weight.
Okay.
This is something, it's a funny story. When I started practicing, my private practice actually, I met like 99.9% patients. When they used to get out of my clinic, they used to just turn to me and say, "Ma'am, I came for a weight loss diet." It's like, yeah, I gave you a weight loss diet. No, you gave me too much food. It's like, but you will reduce weight if you have this kind of food. And they always go with a confused face. And later on, they come back after 1 month losing 4 kgs or 5 kgs. And they are so elated. They come back and say, ma'am, you can eat and reduce weight. It's like, yes, that's the science. You're supposed to eat. I'm a clinical nutritionist. I'm supposed to say what to eat to reduce weight, not what not to eat always. So that is a huge myth. So to all the teenagers who have basically stopped eating 3 meals, if this is a platform, I would like to address each and every one of them and say, do not skip meals. That is not the way to reduce your weight.
So as we spoke about fasting, there are various ways of fasting. There is intermediate fasting. So people are following this religiously. So what is your take on this? Is this good or bad, or what should be done?
See, fasting is the most in thing now. So, and intermittent fasting is topping the list. But there are a lot of reasons why you should not do intermittent fasting. For some people, it is contraindicated. So the thing is, when people like the general mass is being informed about intermittent fasting, they're not scientifically informed about it completely. So what is happening? It is intermittent fasting doesn't mean not eating for 16 hours and eating whatever you want to eat for the rest of the time. It is not like that. It has to be personalized. So that is what I'm saying. Diet, if it is not personalized, it will not work on you. It will not work on anyone. So there are a lot of cases where we do not give intermittent fasting because we analyze that if a person does intermittent fasting for some amount of time, then these things or that thing can happen. So we counsel the patients, we understand their needs. All right. And when we decide on giving intermittent fasting, of course, that is a method, or that is a diet. And we do give intermittent fasting, but then we give it personalized according to my patient. I will have to tailor it according to my patient so that my patient can sustain it. And of course, there is one problem with intermittent fasting. It is not for life. I mean, you cannot do it every single day throughout your life. There will be a break. So these things will be tailored according to the patient's need, the patient's blood reports, the patient's mental health, the patient's socio-cultural scenario. Everything has to be taken into account. Okay, so then only the intermittent fasting will work according to your expectation. Okay, so that's why these general reels about intermittent fasting or these general write-ups about intermittent fasting, I personally think they are very redundant. They do not have your personal essence because health cannot be generalized. Health is very specific to every person. Just like my eyesight is different, your eyesight is different. It is just one example. So it is different. Mano yana mano, it is different. So that's the way.
So as you said, this is personalized,
Yeah.
but there are many videos or many interviews of various celebrities sharing their diets and people are blindly following it.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you say about that?
I'm sure these celebrities must have had benefits from intermittent fasting. That's why they're talking about it. But again, I'm sure someone has tailored it for them. If you're talking about a huge celebrity talking about intermittent fasting, yes, he must have gone to someone and that person must have tailored it for them. So do not go by just the thought that, quote unquote, this hero or this heroine is having this kind of food, so I will have this kind of food, then I will get that figure. No, there is much more to it. There is much, much more to it. That is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay.
Okay, so has any client come up with a weird request?
Oh, yes. There are a lot of people from the film industry. Actually, they can't help it. So they have to be 5 kgs lesser weight, or they have to weigh 5 kgs lesser for some role. And then within 20 days to 25 days, they have to gain 3 more kgs and then again shed it. So, they have different demands and that's their profession. So yes, I help them to do that. And then I have my own ways, different kinds of methods. In that, of course, intermittent fasting is one of them. and we succeed in doing it. So it is possible. But again, it is not sustainable. It is need-based, because their need is that. Again, when they are back to their own self and they want to maintain a particular weight for height, then we go into the sustainable manner. But then, yes, we have these demands.
Okay, so there are many individuals who have high stress or hectic schedule jobs. So what is your nutritional advice?
See, that is the area where lifestyle comes into play more than the diet. So I need to understand that what is creating the issue. Is the stress level creating the issue, or the lifestyle, which is very hectic, is creating the issue, or not eating creating the issue? So that is when I need to talk more with my clients and understand the cause of their problems. And it is difficult, but it is possible, because I have a lot of clients who are pilots. And they fly for really long, international flights. So they are really long. And they have to, depend on flight food and all that. And they are not always very healthy. So these are all options where I say, from that options, what is available, what to eat and what not to eat, and how much to eat and when to eat. So this is a bit tricky, difficult, definitely difficult, but I'm managing, and my clients are doing well, because especially pilots, they have this thing that they cannot fly if they have grade 2 fatty liver. Some companies, they have these rules for pilots. So, and then of course, flight attendants, they have to be of a particular weight. So these are all criterias which are there, which the general population are unaware probably of. So they need to take care of their health. So I help them to do that. And why only pilots? Even doctors. I think the worst lifestyle, if you say, doctors have. Because their OPD never ends, or their OT never ends, one after the other. So you'll find a lot of doctors who are very unwell. And many of them are my clients. And yes, they are getting better. They're understanding their own needs, because you have to put your own health first. Then only you can help others, right? That's right.
Okay, so is there any success story particularly from your clinic which stands out to you?
Yes, I think one thing which really touched my heart. I mean, we have a lot of success stories. Obviously, I deal with weight loss. I'm helping people lose 30 kgs, 40 kgs. That is all good. But, this patient of mine, I'm not naming her, but she was 153 centimeters. Her height was 153 centimeters and her weight was 156 kgs. And she had a number of issues with her health, obviously. And she was in a lot of pain because she had hernia. And she could not have an operation because of her weight. And she didn't come from a very affluent background, so she could not afford a bariatric surgery. So she came to me and said that, see, this is my condition. I have to do it. I cannot go to the gym. I have to do it with diet. And I still remember the first day she cried in front of me for like half an hour, saying that you cannot imagine the physical pain I'm going through, but my doctor will not do an OT, which is for a fair reason. So I started working with her. I started meeting her every 15 days and I started working with her. And she had to wear diapers because she couldn't regularly go to the washroom. She couldn't walk that much. And I think I was happiest when after 6 months, when she went to the OT, she came back to me walking without the diaper. And she told me, Ananya, this is a new life. I cannot believe I have gotten rid of that pain. And I think that day I thanked God that I studied this and I could be a part of this, because these things really touch your heart. And similarly with a patient, there was a lot of talk about it. He was also waiting for a heart surgery. And he couldn't go for a heart surgery. And there were a lot of issues with his liver, his weight. And we just had 2 months. So my husband had referred him to me. and said that you have to do it, because he was one of his colleagues. So, and then I started working relentlessly with him. And after the surgery, he came back and said, see, I can jump now. I don't have to think. I don't have to think before walking fast. So these things, I won't say these are success stories. These are things which touch my heart. And I think these give me a lot of wellness.
That is such a lovely thing to share. Thank you. So what is the one thing which has changed your approach towards wellness?
I don't think my approach towards wellness has changed. I think I discovered what wellness was while I was in the journey. So that's why I left just the job of being a clinical nutritionist or a researcher, because I'm extremely interested in academic research, and I'm still doing it. Code Wellness is a part of academic research even today. So I feel that I'm discovering it every single day with every single patient of mine, because everyone has their own set of problems, which everyone is fighting with. And you can learn from each and every patient. And I think I am blessed to be in such a job that I get to learn from each and every patient, and I get inspired by them. If you sit on this side of the table, you understand how difficult it is to be on that side and say that, Ananya, I am going through this. I want to talk to you. I mean, to have the courage to say that I want to talk to you. I need to say something to you in private. And I'm glad that I can give my patients that space where they can tell me that I want to tell you something. Do you have a bit of time? So I'm glad. I love my job. That's why.
Okay, so actually there are a lot of people, or my friends are also taking sugar substitutes. So is actually sugar bad for health, or the right amount should do?
If you're talking about sugar, then yes, we Indians, we tend to have more sugar than we should have. And sugar is actually empty calories. So I always say that why not shift to something like gur, which is extremely indigenous. So you can find good quality gur. You can go for honey. So these are better options than just sugar, because they have more than just calories. Sugar has empty calories, nothing much. But other than that, even if you're using gur to a very large extent, that is also not good. So then comes the answer, then we should shift to artificial sweeteners, which is the easiest method. But there are lots of studies which have said that artificial sweeteners are not good. Not only we first think about it when we become diabetic, right? But for diabetics also, in the long term, it does not have much of an effect. Also, when it comes to weight gain, then also in the long term, it has no effect. So we need to understand one thing. We need to actually change our attitude towards sugar. We need to understand that what we are having is much more than what we should have. So instead of having something which is artificial and in the long term may cause cancer or may cause a lot of other health issues, each and every artificial sweetener has some kind of side effect in the long term. Aspartame, stevia, some kind of little side effect they do have, because after all, they are artificial. So at the end of the day, it is better to cut down the general sugar or the sweet content of our food on a daily basis. I'm not saying never have a cake, but do not have 3 pieces of a cake in 2-3 days. So why not cut it down to some extent? And then you can enjoy the natural sugars like the gur and the honey. So why not do that? So that is one thing. But we keep talking about sugars, but another very important aspect of Indian diet is salt. We tend to eat at least 3 times more salt than we are supposed to eat. Because whenever we think about salt, we think about the salty taste. But it is much more than that. We are actually, when we are taking one pack of, any chips or any namkeen that we take, we are already taking our whole day's intake of salt there. But the rest of the day, we keep on taking salt in each and every diet. So problem is not only sugar. Problem is both salt and sugar. Indian diets need to reduce its salt and sugar content. And I'm glad that now, children, we are promoting that children should not have added sugar or added salt in the first 1 year of their birth. So, and I think we are doing it well because now mothers are starting to be aware of that. Mothers is wrong. Parents should be aware. But yes, they are starting to be aware of that. So that is a good side of it. But again, the rest of the life is also important, right? So we need to reduce the intake of sugar and salt.
Okay, so the first thing that people do when they are facing any symptoms or are unwell, the first thing they do is take advice from Reels or Google or from social media. So what do you think? Is this something which should be carried on?
See, firstly, I don't know. This is the basic nature nowadays of people. But I do not understand why people do it to their health. Because, yes, a lot of information is there on the internet, but that most of it is unverified information. So how can you depend on unverified information when it concerns about your own health? So this is a very irresponsible thing to do. So whenever you're having symptoms, I think now our health system is pretty strong and doctors are available. So I think let's not, save that amount of money at least and go to a doctor and find out what the problem is. And yes, definitely when it comes to Reels, have you seen what kind of degrees all these people who are, talking on Reels, you have not verified their degrees. So whether their knowledge is perfect, we do not know. I'm not saying that there are not great doctors who are giving advice on Reels. I'm sure they are. But I'm not 100% sure that all of them are saying the correct thing. So why should I, depend my health on the information which is not specific for me, A, and secondly, not verified. So this is something where I maybe as a human being, I do not understand why people do it. But yes, I every day get people who are coming to my clinic and saying, I had this, I had that, I had this, and now I'm like this. But I follow Reels, I do this, I do that. So I am very confused, in fact, I guess, in understanding the fact that how can people be so irresponsible about their own health? So I think this is time to understand that health is all that we have. If you have health, then you have the rest. So we need to be responsible about health and go to a doctor.
So, as you have mentioned that health cannot be generalized.
No, it cannot be generalized.
So, there are many doctors who are posting these suggestive reels and, there was one reel in my feed that if you're facing this symptoms, you might have anxiety.
Yeah.
So, I am also blindly following something like that. So, these are doctors who are advising us on social media. So, what do you think about that?
So, that's what I'm saying. You might have anxiety. But if you want to be diagnosed that you have an anxiety disorder, you need to go to a doctor. Reels can be indicative. They can say that you might have this. But no doctor will say that if you have this, you are suffering from this, have this medicine. No doctor will say that. So, yes, there can be, for example, I'm also giving you information, right? but I am giving you information for your general awareness. Now, if you ask me, Ki Ananya, how can I have this problem, how can I solve this? I'm just giving an arbitrary example of sudden hair loss and sudden weight loss. So if you ask me that, I should not generalize and answer you. I will have to sit with you for at least 20 minutes and understand the whole scenario that you are facing. Then I can say why this is happening.
When I was younger, we used to visit doctors and they used to check us up physically. And nowadays, due to, busy schedules or something, some of the doctors are just video calling and just diagnosing.
See, that is, we have a particular method of doing that because teleconsultation is a proven method. I shouldn't talk about like medicine as such, because that is not what I practice. I can tell you about my practice. I do have a lot of patients abroad and I do consultations with them. But again, I do not need to touch my patients. I'm not going to diagnose. So I am being able to do that. There are a lot of cases where you do not need to touch the patients. So then the doctors can do that. It is their discretion. And also the patient's discretion nowadays, because I see patients who do not have a prescription. They just show me a forwarded message from the doctor. It is written forwarded and this medicine, this medicine, this medicine. So I ask my patients that, why didn't you go to the doctor? And then they say, but we went to the doctor 1 month before, so we didn't go to the doctor anymore. So this is also a very irresponsible approach towards your own health, where you're thinking that I do not need to visit the doctor, but I'm getting the medicine. What's the need to visit? Diagnosis is the doctor's discretion. Talk to him or her. Talk to him or her and ask whether it is needed for you or the patients to go to the clinic, or it can be managed just by teleconsultation. So that choice is always there. And for surgery, you have to go to the clinic.
Yes, definitely.
So that is there. But my area, I need to talk to my clients. So in that case, it doesn't involve touching. So if correct height and weight or whatever requirements I have, it is available, then I do online consultations. That doesn't affect the quality of my work.
So finally, if you could give one piece of advice for living a healthier life, what would that be?
See, if you are not clinically unwell, then go for a balanced diet, A. B, try to do basic physical activities on your own, like, climbing stairs on your own, not always taking lifts. Short distance, try to walk. These are our basic things which we should do. So that. And thirdly, annual visit to a doctor. I always say, when it comes to Bengalis at least, that it is Durga Puja. So the moment you're shopping for Durga Puja, you have one more job to do. Go to the doctor.
Definitely will keep in mind.
Yes, because prevention is better than cure. And you can prevent a lot of diseases by screening them early.
Okay, so people going to the gym take a lot of supplements on a regular basis. So are you against it or for it?
See, as I said initially, that supplements should be taken with medical advice. So, yes, a lot of trainings require supplements. I'm not saying no. But do not take the advice of taking a supplement from a non-medical person. That is not the correct approach. Then what happens? We have a lot of training to understand the later effects in your body. So we study for around 15 years, right? So there is a reason for that. Otherwise, you do not have the understanding of it. So try when you go for something which you're taking in every single day, you're eating it, right? So it is going inside your body and you're having it every single day. So at least go for a medical advice before starting a supplement. Okay. That is what is very important.
Thank you for joining us on this journey on Ananya Bhowmik's world of wellness and wisdom. Until next time, keep your mindful choices shaping your path into holistic health.